So you want to learn about the integral A, or the vector. Let's look at this bad boy. So there is a DLC vector called the Riemann, and it is identical to the normal vector, except it cannot accept a suppressor because it already has one. So if you look at the stats here, these have the exact same upgrades. Range 3, range 2.25. So a little bit higher range on the stock vector. So funny enough, the DLC weapon is just objectively worse because they're identical, except one has better range. Now I will go through the differences between them later on, but for now let's look at the upgrades. So the upgrades, oh, I have to repair it first. There we go. So for the upgrades, there's really only one upgrade tree I recommend, like the fork. So bullet range on a weapon that needs to headshot, like get several headshots in order to kill outside of like weak enemies, is not that good. So you want to get the extra armor piercing so that you have higher damage against armor and against most mutants in the game. And for other upgrades, so slowing spread increase, bullet velocity into armor piercing, spread decrease on flash suppressor, or recoil decrease. Either is fine. Arguably the recoil decrease is better. So let's actually run that. Let's confirm that. Yeah, so the reason why you want the recoil decrease is for the 2-round burst, which we'll go over in a second. For the other upgrades, wear and tear is fantastic on everything, and the fact that you can get it without any other upgrades is nice. So if you just want wear and tear, you can grab just that. And then recoil decrease versus aiming speed. The recoil decrease is better, and you'll see why in a minute. And then you do want the caliber change. So typically I would grab wear and tear, recoil decrease, caliber change for the damage increase. It has 13 base damage. This bumps it up to 16. I almost said 45, but that'd be insane. To 16. And then you can also get the compensator receiver for recoil decrease. You have an increase in weight. So you like gain weight on the weapon, and it also increases aiming speed instead of reducing it. And then another recoil decrease on the foregrip. And then for the laser, you get aiming speed and spread decrease. And for the other upgrades, moving while aiming and aiming speed or readiness. So in terms of upgrades, always get the armor penetration upgrade, always get the caliber change, and then you can either go for recoil decrease or certain other upgrades. So it really depends on what you want to do, but the recoil increase from changing caliber, you probably want to run the recoil decrease mods to compensate for that. So one thing that you can do is manage the 2-round burst recoil. So if you want to take this thing out to range, single fire is going to be a nightmare to manage, and I'll just demo that. So like, let's say we're shooting single fire, and we want to get like however many headshots it takes, which is typically 3 to 5. So you're going to be like tapping. Let's like look at that group. So like there's like recoil as you're shooting. So if you're shooting far away, it's going to be pretty difficult to accurately hit something while you're getting shot at like 5 times. So really, realistically, the best option for range is to use the 2-round burst. And here's like the accuracy on it by default. Pretty accurate. You see these 2 groups here. This is like the range of 2-round burst. Now, one thing to note that's nice about the 2-round burst, when you get all the recoil upgrades and you throw a silencer on this thing, is it kicks up and to the left. So that means if you drag down and to the right slightly, you can get significantly tighter groups. So if we want to go for like 2 headshots there. So this was 3 shots directly on the center and then 1 flyer, and that was from like overcompensating for the recoil. But if you get used to the recoil pattern, you can kind of use this at range. So that's 4 shots, easily a kill on pretty much anything, including exosuits. So with recoil compensation, which is manual, you have to drag down and to the right slightly, your 2-round burst can be pretty effective and essentially giving you like a SMG Nipro type of weapon. Let's test the vector breakpoints. So we have the 45 caliber change, and we also have the armor penetration upgrade. So I'm going to be going for single shot headshots on max level endgame exosuits. 1, 2, 3. All right, so 3 headshots with AP. 1, 2. Hold on. The guy in the back was hit twice. There's quite a few of them. 1, 2, 3. This guy's 1 on him. 2, 3. That was 4. Should be 4. You can see those guys already headshot. So 4 headshots with this. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's 4. All right, so 4 base ammo and then 3 armor piercing. 4 headshots to kill. Now, obviously, you're not going to be sitting there slowly shooting them. I'm just doing that to demonstrate, like, how many headshots it takes to kill. Really, realistically, you're gonna be doing that. Realistically, that's how you're gonna be running this gun. All right, so some things to note about this gun. Let's look at the recoil. This is with fully upgraded with like recoil increases or decreases and everything. So it climbs straight up and then it starts to climb to the left. So in order to compensate for it, you drag down and then eventually start dragging down to the right. For hipfire accuracy, at point blank, it's quite accurate. So like if you're like coming around a corner, you don't want to be ADSing, you can just like track ahead and just like mow someone down. Now with the extended mag, you're only looking at 30 rounds, which is not bad, but you have to consider this thing has like 1,000 rounds per minute fire rate. So it burns through that super quick. So knowing that it takes 4 headshots to kill a basic exosuit or like an exoskeleton enemy in endgame, you kind of have to like do like controlled bursts. And even doing controlled bursts, like this gun fires significantly faster than other weapons, so you might be overshooting. Now it also has a 2-round burst that can help you with overshooting. So 2 bursts will kill with either ammo type. So each burst shoots 2 shots. Now with all the recoil upgrades and with the suppressor, those are pretty tight 2 burst groupings. So like at the effective range, as long as you're like on the head, you can actually aim like here. Like don't aim at the top of the head, aim like a little bit like around where the face is or the mouth, because then it'll climb a little bit. So you can compensate for the recoil or you can just aim like that. But if you drag down slightly, you can get the 2 bullets to be pretty much next to each other. Now versus the DLC, this is something to note as well. Interestingly, the suppressor on the normal vector actually gets you more range. So the DLC weapon is actually just worse. Now the normal vector has a higher value and it will have a little bit higher weight, but the DLC version actually just has worse range because you cannot throw a suppressor on it because it's already suppressed. So interestingly, the default one is better. And the difference between them is basically just the range.